The words of FIFA President Gianni Infantino when hailing this summer's World Cup across the United States of America, Mexico and Canada. Never afraid to hype football's showpiece event, the head of the world governing body has portrayed the first pan-continental version as the most inclusive, welcoming and unifying to date. But many others would choose different superlatives. The most politicized, for instance. And the most expensive. Potentially the hottest, or the most polluting. Certainly the most lucrative for FIFA. Whatever one's perspective, it seems certain that away from the on-field spectacle, this super-sized World Cup could be among the most contentious ever. From controversy over the costs to fans, the impact of geopolitics and immigration policies, to security, extreme weather, sustainability and the role of U.S. President Donald Trump, it inspires trepidation as well as excitement. So what will be the principal issues? How did we get here? And what is at stake? As the eyes of the footballing world focus on Mexico City before Thursday's opening match, the co-hosts provide a vivid snapshot of what makes the next few weeks so compelling and challenging. Here in this footballing hotbed, a city that has provided the tournament with some of its most iconic moments, the legendary Estadio Azteca is ready to make history as the first venue to host the start of 3 different World Cups. It is a tantalizing prospect. But just as in the neighboring U.S., where about 75% of the matches will take place, the high cost of tickets has caused concern, as has security in a country that has suffered from major cartel violence this year. World Cup player statues in the capital have been toppled by protesters, with teachers demanding higher wages threatening to disrupt matches if their wishes are not met. Meanwhile, in Tijuana, the presence of the Iran squad is a consequence of the complex political tensions surrounding the sporting action. No other World Cup has been spread over 3 countries. Nor has it involved as many as 48 teams in 104 matches. But beyond its sheer scale, this tournament is unprecedented in other ways. Never before, for instance, has a host country been at war with a participating nation. Just last month, FIFA confirmed the Iran team had moved its base from Arizona to Mexico, the latest result of the military campaign launched in February, when the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran, sparking retaliatory strikes across the Middle East. While a ceasefire came into effect in early April, strikes between the two sides have continued. In the past few months, confusion has surrounded Iran's participation, with President Trump at one stage warning it was not appropriate for the team to participate, for their own life and safety. His special envoy even suggested that Iran should be replaced by 4-time winners Italy, who had failed to qualify. Iran now looks set to take part in a 4th consecutive World Cup, although the country has accused the U.S. of denying visas to some executives and backroom staff, with an official claiming the players had been told they must enter and leave the U.S. on the same day of their 3 group matches there. On Tuesday, Iran's Football Federation said its allocation of fan tickets for the group stage had been revoked, adding it raises serious questions about the interference of non-sporting and political considerations in the organization of the world's biggest football event. FIFA said it is working to maximize opportunities for Iranian supporters to attend matches. But with it reportedly set to ban the pre-revolutionary Iran flag from tournament venues, their games will be politically charged, especially with the first 2 taking place in Los Angeles, home to a large Persian community. Back in 2017, during Trump's first term, Infantino had suggested a U.S. travel ban on citizens from 6 majority Muslim countries was incompatible with tournament regulations, and could invalidate the country's hopes to host the tournament in 2026. It's obvious when it comes to FIFA competitions, any team, including the supporters and officials of that team, who qualify for a World Cup need to have access to the country, otherwise there is no World Cup, he warned. And yet, as a result of the immigration policies implemented by Trump during his 2nd term in office, there will be 4 competing countries, Iran, Haiti, Senegal and Ivory Coast, whose fans have faced full or partial travel bans, with the White House referencing a need to manage security threats. In fact, analysis of travel data by the BBC shows that fans from more than a quarter of the 48 countries taking part in the World Cup are facing travel bans, tighter restrictions or high visa rejection rates. It was only last month that visitors from Algeria, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Cape Verde and Tunisia were granted exemptions from having to pay a deposit of up to $15,000 £11,000 before obtaining a U.S. visa. At the weekend, the International Sports Press Association complained about a long-standing and unacceptable problem for us journalists, the denial of entry visas to regularly accredited colleagues. And on Monday, FIFA said that Omar Artan, who was set to be the first Somalian to referee at the World Cup finals, had been dropped from the list of officials after he was denied entry to the U.S. No reason was issued by U.S. immigration authorities, but Somalia is one of several countries on a travel ban list introduced by the Trump administration. This is a tournament where players, fans, and officials are not walking in free of risk, if they can get in at all, according to Craig Foster, a former captain of Australia's Socceroos, and now a rights campaigner. For a sport that has trumpeted its commitment to its own human rights policy for a decade now, that is nothing short of disgraceful. This should obliterate the idea, that has still been somewhat prevalent in the world, of a separation between politics and sport. Unlike any other sporting tournament I can recall in modern times, this is a deeply politicized World Cup. Since being elected in 2016, Infantino has regularly cozied up to the leaders of countries hosting his events. But his controversial awarding of a FIFA Peace Prize to Trump at the World Cup draw last year underlined the close relationship he has forged with the U.S. president. Since then, the U.S. has taken military action in Venezuela, Nigeria and Iran, with Trump hinting at possible operations in Greenland, Mexico, and another World Cup participant, Colombia. There have also been tensions between the three co-hosts on trade, immigration and drug trafficking. Indeed, only last week, the president referred to Canada as the 51st state, although there are also hopes that the tournament could provide an opportunity for diplomacy. To add to the mix, the U.S. is celebrating the 250th anniversary of America's independence, with Trump expected to take center stage at the tournament, just as he did at the Club World Cup final last year, and then at the World Cup draw in December. After both Russia and Qatar were accused of exploiting the past two World Cups in a bid to improve their reputations, Human Rights Watch claims this summer's event will be a bonanza of sports washing. External Amnesty has also said it risks becoming a stage for repression, external highlighting, abusive, discriminatory and deadly immigration enforcement and mass detention in the USA, and warning of significant risks to those attending. Much of the scrutiny has centered on the role of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE), with the agency part of the overall security apparatus for the event. Earlier this year, ICE agents shot and killed two American citizens as part of an immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. In response to such criticism, the White House's World Cup Task Force has vowed that the tournament will be the safest and most welcoming sporting event in history, and that it was working to deliver an event that highlights America's hospitality, commitment to security, and spirit of excellence. Cost controversies defined build-up. 8 years ago, FIFA awarded the 2026 World Cup to United States, Mexico and Canada as it was trying to recover from the existential corruption scandal sparked by the hugely controversial votes in 2010 for Russia and Qatar to stage the tournament in 2018 and 2022 respectively. With both those countries forced to deny allegations of bribery, a World Cup in North America must have seemed much less risky, with stadium infrastructure already in place. The other major attraction was financial. Fueled by multi-billion-dollar broadcasting and sponsorship deals, the expanded tournament in the world's most commercialized sports market will be the most lucrative event in sports history, with FIFA set to make a record $9 billion £6.74 billion this year alone. Such riches will enable it to redistribute $2.7 billion to the National Football Associations over the next 4 years. That helps the game's global development and will increase the chances of Infantino winning a third re-election next year. But controversy over the way in which much of this money is being generated has defined much of the build-up to the World Cup. Back in 2018, Those behind the bid said tickets to the final would cost a maximum of $1,550, £1,174. However, when they went on sale to members of each country's official supporters club in December, the most expensive was listed at $8,680, £6,581. The costs were described as a monumental betrayal by a leading supporters group, and FIFA then announced a small number of $60, £45 tickets. But the pricing strategy, and the first use at a World Cup of dynamic pricing, with fees dependent on demand and timing, sparked a major backlash, along with fears that many of the most passionate and loyal supporters could be priced out. On the official resale platform, fans faced paying vastly inflated prices, with FIFA taking a 30% fee from each ticket sold. Last month, official